Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Morris October Rants. Today, I wanted to make a part two of my everyone is overly emotional or over emotional rant. It's going to be a part two. And in this part, I wanted to address something that a lot of people I see do. And it's when you try to use someone's logic against them. Like you'll be talking to them, they will say something to you, and then you try to explain to them their own logic back to, like, you use their own logic back onto them, and then they act like you're the piece of shit, and they act like you're being unreasonable when you're just using their own logic on them. And sometimes it takes using people's own logic on them, like using their own reasoning against them to really show them how flawed their logic really is. And it's like people don't like when you do things to them that they have done onto you. And it's hilarious because they have no problem with using their own logic on you, but they seem to have a problem and they don't see the fault in their logic when it's used against them. Like they don't understand how flawed it is when it's used against them, but they see no problem when they use it on someone else. And I just don't understand that, like the same thing happens when you're talking to somebody, they tell you a bunch of things, and while you're having a conversation, you repeat things that they said. It's like people don't like you to listen to them. Like people don't like it when you actually listen and respond and tell them things they've said. Like they don't like it when you listen. Like I actually listen to people and I'll respond and tell them my opinion on what they've said. And it's like they don't like it that like you're fully listening to their bullshit and you bring it up and try to use it against them. Like it's like they don't want you to really fully listen to what they're saying. Like they think you're not paying attention. And I just don't understand that. But this all can really be like related to the whole manipulation rant that I made about manipulation. And because this is a form of manipulation, it really is, when you're trying to talk to someone and their logic is being used against them and they don't see any like issue with their logic being used against you, but when you use it against them, they see it as a problem and they don't think that they've done anything wrong and they think that they're still correct. Like that's a form of manipulation. And I know I'm making a rant about this, but one of the best things that I found is trying not to get into that situation in the first place so I don't even have to deal with that. Because if I have to try to use someone's logic against them to explain why they are wrong, then that's probably not a friendship or a conversation that I want to be involved with in the first place. I just think it's so funny how people can see no fault in their own logic when they're trying to talk to other people. But it's kind of like how when people insult other people and they call people names and then you call them the same names back to them and they are really upset and hurt by it, but they have no problem calling other people insults, It's kind of the same thing. It's like a taste of your own medicine kind of thing. And people just don't seem to like that. And, it's just human nature, It's the same thing where it's kind of the same concept with, someone can make a mistake and they'll be like, relax, it's a mistake. Everyone's human. Everyone makes mistakes. Like, we're not perfect. Stop being an asshole and overreacting. But then when someone else makes a mistake, they're the first people to yell and talk about how you're stupid and how you fucked up and like, oh, but, like they're so easy to just brush over a mistake they made and it's no big deal, but it's a big deal when someone else makes a mistake, A lot of people are like that in general. Like it's no big deal when they do something, but when someone else does something or it's directed towards them, oh my God, it's the end of the world. That's just how people are. And, it's really annoying. And I know that a lot of people can relate to this. So if you're listening to this, really think to yourself, has this ever happened to you? Has someone Have you tried to use someone's logic against them because they use it against you and they didn't realize their own fault in it? Like they don't think that there's nothing wrong with it, or like they've done something and then they think it's no big deal, but when they do it onto you, or like you do it onto them, it's a big deal. Like everyone's faced stuff like that. But yeah, I don't want to make this rant too long because people don't seem to listen past like 3 or 4 minutes. So I just wanted to make this rant really quick because this is something that I think goes on a lot, and it's something that's going to continue to go on. People are extremely huge hypocrites, and they'll talk like they're so for second chances, and everyone makes mistakes, like I said, but then when someone else makes a mistake, it's the fucking end of the world. My dad's like that. I'll give you one story about my dad, and then I'll end the video. But I remember one time when I was like in my early 20s or like late teens, like me and my dad were driving, and we were driving down this road, and he by mistake got the car stuck in this little ditch on the side of the road. It was like this little ditch where like the land goes down, so the car could not go back up over the hill. It was kind of too high. So we had to have like someone come help us get the car out. And he was the first one to tell me how people make mistakes, how it was an accident, how, people make mistakes, so it's no big deal. But then if I was to do that, like if that was me driving and I did that, he would make a huge deal out of it. And I know he would. And he would make a big deal out of it and yell at me and stuff. Or like another big mistake, like he's the first one to brush off the mistake and pretend it's no big deal. But if someone else did that, he'd make it a huge deal. So a lot of people are like that, I don't fault them. Like, it's just human nature, like I said. But this has been long enough. I'll stop ranting now. Thanks for listening to the Morris October Rant series. Have a good one, guys, and I'll make more videos soon. All right? Take care, guys. Take care.